This is my third session on Deer Lake in Burnaby, and I think, well, I'm sure this is the last one for the year for me because, as you can see, there are a lot of obstacles in the water now. Most importantly, there are millions of lily pads, and they're not just little small plants, they're thick stalks that go all the way to the bottom, and when you run into one with your wing, it's game over. It's not like it drags or pulls out or anything. It just pulls you down. So I had to do quite a few runs just to clear out a path to get out and clean up the mess. But, I was like a weed whacker. I was throwing all these lily pads out of the way. And in the end, I was able to get enough to kind of get out most of the time. But coming back in, you only had a shallow corridor to get back in. But anyway, so there's just too many lily pads now, and it's just too late in the year for that. But otherwise, this is an awesome lake. But this is my longest run to date. I had gotten all the way to the log way down the lake and launched off of that after I rested, and made it back to the dock until I ran into the lily pads over there. I couldn't quite make it back. They started catching and pulled me down. But minute 24, that's my longest for sure. I'm really proud of that. I was pretty tired when I got back. But this is on the way over there. And, the wind was pushing on me a little bit. And so it wasn't quite as easy as it sometimes is. But I basically did a direct line. The wind was pushing on me, so I didn't want to go straight up the lake. But so this is pretty cool. Like, I was just set my mind, I'm going to make it to that log, because last time I didn't quite make it. I was like, 100 feet away or something. And same thing this time. I made it, and I was pretty tired by the time I got to about a minute here. But I was like, 100 feet away or whatever, and I'm like, or 150 feet, and I'm like, I'm going to make it. So I kept on going, and then there are a bunch of lily pads, maybe the first 20 feet around the log. So I couldn't quite make it to the log, but that's a really great place to go. It's a reasonable distance, and it's so easy to start off that log. And there is a clear little path off of that log with very few lily pads that I was able to use. So I was a minute 14 over and a minute 24 back. And those are my longest rides so far. But after that, I just kind of tried working on my technique a little bit here, trying to slow down my pumps. And it was a little bit tough because it's always tough when there's a little breeze, and when the breeze is also making little wavelets. So I wasn't that successful, but at least I was able to kind of go out and make the turn and come back and get used to that feeling of the wind pushing on me, which I've never quite gotten used to. It's a weird feeling. Like, it feels like, I guess if you look down and the water's not really moving, I guess, because you're going about the same speed or closer to the same speed as the waves. So it's hard to gauge, like, how fast you're going. Am I going fast enough? How high in the mast am I? All that stuff. But I came back to the dock and again got caught up in these lily pads. You can see they just pull you down. Just like you hit one there, you're just like, meow. And you can see they're all around there, going out like, 40 feet or something. So I must have cut down at least 50, maybe even 100 lily pads with my hands pulling them out, or just running over them with the wing, and then and they're getting caught on the wing and then pulling me down, and then I would pull it out by hand and throw it away. So here I was messing around again with that, like, really pump, get high, and then glide, and then it sort of was working well at the beginning, and then I got tired and started getting lower on the mast, and then it wasn't working very well at all, and then I was like, oh man, I don't even have the energy to finish getting over to the log again, so I had to stop and swim back. But it was nice out, and I ended up taking the wetsuit off again, and I had a hell of a time getting started with it. I'm not sure why, but it took me like 5 or 6 starts to get out, And then here, I ran over the rope for that buoy. I got caught in the wing, so I crashed there. But the other times I just couldn't seem to like launch straight the way I usually do, is going to the left or the right, and there were always lily pads catching on the wing. I'd feel something pulling sometimes. I'd look down and I could see one if it actually pulled out, but most of the time it just pull you right down. So this is kind of my first experience catching something on the wing, and I had no idea how detrimental it is. I mean, I guess it's like when I'm surfing sometimes and you catch a big clump of seaweed in your leash, and I mean, it feels like there's an anchor attached to you, you know? So I made a few more circles just to go back to the dock, and same thing, get caught, pulled down, and I would take the opportunity to rip some out around me there and throw them to the shore when I was there. Same thing there, got caught on a weed because it was too low. The wing was too low. It was too low in the mast. So I was getting kind of frustrated here. And I did take an adventure way up the lake, walking to see, because there is a dock up there, because I was hoping I could launch and go downwind all the way to this dock, which is a bit of a stretch. That's like a 2-minute pumping session. But the wind had picked up by this time anyway. But there was no chance of that. I mean, there were thick lily pads around it for like 100 feet in all directions. So I'd give up and walk back. So this is my last little run around the buoys, just to kind of finish off the session. Hate finishing off the session with a bad run or no run. And that's it for today's session.